One, I'm your favorite dating and relationship coach. I want to talk to you today about the fearful avoidant attachment and why is it you keep testing your partner. First and foremost, testing really and truly is you consciously, subconsciously behaving in a way that will cause a reaction of a partner intentionally to see how they move. You want to see how they're going to react, what they're going to say, what they're going to do. You are doing a behavior to elicit a response. It's pretty much conscious, really. You know what I mean? But you're doing it to elicit a response. And what you're trying to find out is if they love you, if they're stable, if they are caring, whether they'll abandon you, whether, if you give them your true self, they will leave you, whether they'll reject you, whether they'll shout, scream, make you feel unsafe. You're trying to test to see what they are going to do and how much they care. And sometimes also, and this is a part that people don't like talking about, but I'll talk about it, fearful avoidance do this to try and see, because they're always, oftentimes when they start a relationship with people, end up in the power struggle stage very early on. They're trying to see how much power they have over you. But that's another story for another day. Listen, we're going to talk about why fearful avoidance, why you keep testing your partner. I want to let you know straight away that, listen, the fearful avoidant attachment style is really involved in, they oscillate between the anxious and the avoidant attachment styles, right? Which means that they crave love deeply, but at the same time, they reject it because they fear being vulnerable and being open, because they're afraid that no one can really love them, or they feel unlovable, or they feel like they'll be abandoned or betrayed or rejected along the way. Okay, they fear intensely that this abandonment they have this abandonment feelings that they have will inevitably come to pass. Okay, all right, but they have a great ability to serve, appreciate, love, give great energy, be a great custodian and supporter of you. They're amazing people, but they have a lot of fear. And unfortunately, because of that, it can make other people struggle in the areas of loving them. But today we're talking about fearful avoidance and the testing that they actually do. Okay, all right, so listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. Let's get into the video. And first and foremost, let's get deep. Okay, don't play with me now. Don't play with me.
Deeper.
All right, cool. So we want to break down, why is it that you keep testing your partner? A quick reminder that testing is you consciously trying to behave in a particular way that will elicit a response from your partner. You are looking to see what they're going to do or say. Okay. And the very first reason why you actually do this is because you are afraid of being abandoned. And actually, this is the core wound underneath it all. Due to the fearful avoidant having an anxious and an avoidant side, the fear of rejection from the avoidant, and the feeling that they need to earn their love, and afraid of being abandoned, causes them to test. And so abandonment is the biggest issue that kind of props up all the other answers as to why they test. And so they're testing you by doing something, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, doing a particular behavior, because they want to see, will you leave them? Ultimately, in all other things, is to see, will you leave them? Will you do what their caretaker did in the past as well? Will you abandon them either emotionally or physically in the relationship? Okay, that's the first and foremost thing. Number two is they like to test the theory of love and affection. They want to see, do you actually love them and do you care? You see, because the the caretaker that they had in their childhood often oscillated between anger and frightful behaviors, and then potentially loving them one moment, right? So offering peace and comfort at a moment, and then being frightful and anger in another moment. And what it did is it causes confusion and fear in a child. Either there was abuse in the home, sexually, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. There was some type of abuse that also happened in the home too, or some level of high level of abandonment in terms of frightful behaviors from the caretaker of the parent, right? Which causes the child to not feel safe. And so what they want to do is they want to test to see, do you really love me? Do you really have affection for me, right? Because they oftentimes can't really take your word and your behavior sometimes for actual truth. They see it and they're like, well, I need to make sure. Okay. And so they will end up in a place where they test your love and your affection for them. Number three, another reason why they do this is they are self-sabotaging because there's too much connection. Because again, they have that avoidance side of them. What can happen is that the when you get too close to a fearful avoidant, they're afraid that you'll see them for who they really are. And in that place, because you can see them for who they really are, they're afraid that actually in this place, I'm unlovable. So if you see me and my naked self, you're going to reject me. So before you reject me, I'm going to push you away before you get to see who I am really. Now, what's really intriguing about this is that is that their fear of abandonment, it becomes a prophetic fallacy because they actually abandon themselves, which ends up rejecting you and then causing abandonment, right? And so in some essence, the sabotage is in that place. It's in that place where they abandon themselves and push you away, and then end up believing that you abandon them and confirming their worst fears. Okay, so sometimes when there's too much connection, you're getting too close, you're getting too emotion, too caught up with them, right? They fear that connection. Remember, they got the avoidant and the anxious side, and they push away. Okay, number 4 of why they test is because they're trying to test your strength and your boundaries. Oh yeah, see, because a child grew up in an environment which was unsafe, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, they actually sometimes push certain boundaries to see, what will you do? Will you react like my caregiver? Will you give me that angry response? Will you give me that quote unquote abusive response? Will you no longer hold out the safe space for me? Right? They're testing to see if you are able to hold your ground because they don't feel safe. And so, if you can hold your ground and if you can respond in the right way with love and care and affection, which, let's be honest, not always you can do that, because let me tell you this now, don't piss me off. You know what I mean? Like, we've all been there, right? You know what I mean? In relationships, you get to that point. And what they're seeing is they're trying to see, okay, all right, I need to test the strength and the boundaries and kind of see if this person will hold their boundaries. Are they going to flip flop, or are they going to stay true to what they said? And the reason why they want you to stay true to what you said is because they want to see that when you say something, it means it. Then they can trust that, right? Because they hate white little lies, they hate dishonesty. They're not a big fan of that because they've experienced that a lot, right? So if you say something and that's your boundary, they want you to see, are you going to hold it, so that they can actually feel safe being in your presence, knowing that once you say no, that means no for them. Because one of the things that they struggle with, and I hope I'll do a separate video for this, is the struggle that they have is their own boundaries. And what they're actually really doing is actually kind of hoping that you will be able to hold that boundary that will hold them as well. Very much childlike, right? So they almost as if like, okay, like, if I can't say no, you'll say no for me. If I can't hold good boundaries, for instance, my money, you might tell me don't do that with your money, and then you're keeping me safe in a sense, almost like an anxious person who focuses on the other party to regulate them. Okay, all right. They test your strength and they test your boundaries. Number 5, and trust me, I've been through this. I already know this stuff. This stuff. When I see it, I just like. Um, Number 5 is can you handle me at your worst? At my worst? The fearful avoidant believes at the core that they are bad people. They feel like they're not worthy of love. They're not good enough. They feel like they have to always earn it. They don't feel like they're worthy. And so their estimation of self is low, and they have a low esteem of other people. Whereas a dismissive has a high esteem of himself, but a low esteem of others, meaning he doesn't trust other people. But fearful avoidants don't trust themselves and don't trust you either. Okay, that's what creates a carnage. And they are asking this key question: can he handle me, or can she handle me at my worst? If I be bad and I'm going to give my bad behavior, how do they react? Very similar to testing a strength. But they're really trying to see, if he can handle me at my worst, then maybe this relationship can work, right? Because again, remember, the core crux is they feel like they are unworthy. The way that they can test, they do certain things, certain behaviors, because they want to see, what are you going to say? How are you going to react? How are you going to maneuver? Right? And actually, it's manipulative. It really is what it is. It's manipulative behavior. And it causes carnage in relationships. So, I mean, how does it look? Well, one of the ways that it looks is that saying things to get a rise out of somebody, saying mean things, harsh things. If I did this, how would you react? Kind of things, right? Intentionally being bad so that it would have to react to you in a particular way, setting up impossible scenarios. For instance, like maybe they know you go to work, they know you go to football at 8 p.m., right? And they intentionally say, but babe, I want to do Netflix at 8 p.m. They know you go to football at 8 p.m. every week, but they're now asking you to sit down and watch Netflix, not because they really want to, because they want to see, what would you do? Are you going to go to football, or are you going to stay with me? Are you going to show me that you love me and you're loyal to me? That's what they want to see, right? So they'll do that. They exhibit certain behaviors, make you do things like trying to make you jealous, right? Flirt with other people in order to try and get you to react and see, how is he going to handle? Does he really care about me? If he's not jealous, then he doesn't really care about me, almost, in a sense, right? They do that. Doing certain behaviors which would be deemed as disrespectful, right? Ignoring, having convenient amnesia, being mannerless all of a sudden, right? A complete change in pattern of behavior. And really what they're doing is they're unsafe. They feel unsafe. They want more intimacy. They want to be able to see how you're going to react because they want to be able to trust that you are the right person for them, right? And so they end up pushing boundaries to see if you're bendable and a safe place in that space, right? And so this also happens as well, right? So there's a lot that we can break down. I want to do that in another video. But if you are somebody who's a fearful avoidant, you need to stop testing, okay? Because it is painful for the other person. I want to do a part 2 of that. How the other people, when they view it, seeing you do testing, even if they don't know it, it's painful when you put the person in an impossible situation, right? Because your reaction is going to be in a tune with my reaction. Or if I am attuned to your testing and I know you're testing me, I'm also going to be frustrated because why don't you trust me? Right? It's painful for me too. So then you have to realize that the other party also suffers by this as well. Behavior. It's not a getaway. And it's funny because I have done this in the past as well myself. We do this as a dismissive avoidant. We also have our testing that we do. So it's not just fearful avoidance. So that's why I'm very much aware of the manipulative aspect, trying to get a result from the particular behavior as well in that sense. But hey, listen, I want to let you guys know, listen, we appreciate you guys. I hope you've been seen, understood, and you feel heard in this particular video. I want to let you guys know we are running our 100 club offline relationship talks, which is going to be on Zoom. The clues in the name is 100 club, 100 people. I want to have people to network, quiz, fun, jokes, and all that kind of stuff. I want to do lovely, jubbly stuff. And I want to be able to have that good time with you guys, having quizzes and games and just networking and having fun behind the scenes. All right. So make sure you sign up. It's not free, but make sure you sign up. Okay. All right. We want to see you guys offline as well. Appreciate you guys. Till locked, till loaded. We'll see you again for the next video. Much love, much appreciation.